So let's have a look at the image masonry element. So after dropping an element on the page, we simply access the dashboard by clicking on the dashboard button, and then we scroll down and we go looking for the image masonry element. You can see that by default in the editor you will have 3 images added. You don't see any of those images, you will only see placeholders. In those placeholders you can add a name. This will be a good reference for later on if you want to remove, so delete an element, that you delete the correct one, or if you want to move around an element, that you move the element you're wanting to. So I'm going to add a few more images. Let's set 14 images for example, and then later we'll get back to the settings that are located on the left. We hit the save button, it will take us back to our Weebly editor. So let's see how it looks. You can see that not all our images are loading. This is actually due to some Weebly issue that we cannot really resolve on our end. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to work. You simply need to either refresh your page or simply remove an element so that it forces again to reload this. So now we have all our elements visible to upload an image. So all we have to do is start uploading images. Okay, so we have uploaded all our images. First thing to note is when you see the images in Weebly inside of the editor, that they will be laid out differently. This is because we don't have our script running inside of the Weebly editor, because it would require too many refreshes, which would slow down your editor page, and then for reasons that are not necessary. So if you want to see the real effect of this masonry element, we simply publish the page, and then we can go and have a look at the live page. So let's refresh this page, and you can see that our images are now appearing here, and that they're all laid out as we hoped for. You can see that there is a bit more of margin at the bottom than there is on the right. This is due because Weebly adds, let's have a look at it, some default spacing to each image. You can see it here that there is a top margin of 10 and a bottom margin of 10 pixels. You could either go inside of all of those images and remove it or set it how needed, or you can simply go back to the editor, and then we're going to have a look at the settings. And there you can remove all of those spacing. Do note that when remove, we have an important notice here as well, that when removing the spacing from all those Weebly images with our setting, that it could conflict when adding a border option for the images inside of the image setting from Weebly. But we are not using a border, so let's simply remove it. And then have a look at the settings available. So we got visible images per row. So for desktop, we have it by default set to 3. You could set it to any value you want. I'm going to leave it to 3, and then you can do the same for tablet view and for phone view. And then you get a horizontal spacing between the images and a vertical spacing. So let's set this, for example, to 0, and this one as well. And then there's also an option where you can add some rounded edges to your images, and then a border radius of 7 pixels will be applied automatically to all of the images inside of the editor. So we're going to leave this now because we removed the spacing, and I don't think it looks nice to have rounded images when there is no spacing between the images. So let's hit the save button. You can see that the spacing is removed horizontally, but there is still some going on vertically, but this will be removed from our live page. So publish again, refresh the page, and then you can see all of our spacing has been removed and the images are nicely laid out. Okay, so if now you see your images like that and you say like, okay, I want to remove the image with the B, for example, right here, you would have to do it obviously inside of the editor, but you don't know exactly which one it is, and you got a lot of images. You're not going to start counting and then hoping that you remove the correct one. So the option was given to give any name you would like. Okay, so the best way to do so is to name your images. So when you create your grid, you just simply rename them. You give them a name. So in this case, I'm going to call it image 1, image 2, and so on. Okay, so now we named all of our images. So let's hit the save button. And then we were looking for the image with the B. You can see that it is image 6. So when you get that name, you can obviously go inside of the editor and safely remove the one you wanted. So let's remove this one, delete, and save. And our image with the B should be removed. And you can see that it is out of our list. So back to our rounded edges, let's add some spacing. Let's add the 15 pixel spacing again for both horizontal and vertical, and add some rounded edges to our images. Okay, so now when publishing it and going back to the live page, you can see that now it looks nice with those edges, which really gives a nice effect in my opinion.